Well, hello there, friends. This is Scott from Flat River Keto. Happy to be joining you again today. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about starting keto. Now, I am by no means an expert. I'm definitely not a medical expert, not a doctor, not a healthcare professional. So obviously nothing that I say should be taken as healthcare advice. Definitely want to talk to a doctor before you start a new diet or something like that. But what I wanted to talk to you about is when I started keto and how things were for me when I started keto. I will say there are a lot better places to get a in-depth guide on how to start keto and what to do. For those of you who might have just happened upon my page or don't know anything about keto, just to give you a quick overview, the ketogenic diet is a low-carb diet. In my case, I keep my carbs below 20 grams a day. I focus on eating meat, and I eat low-carb vegetables, and that's pretty much where my carbohydrates come from, is my vegetables, and that's pretty much it. I don't really eat fruit, with the exception of the occasional berry. I don't eat sugar of any kind, and I don't eat bread, anything like that. So, but what I'd like to talk with you about today is about some things that were helpful to me when I started out on my keto journey, which was just over a year ago. Some things that I wish I knew. Again, some things that are helpful to me, were helpful to me, and some things that I think might be helpful to you. Now, just to give you a little bit of perspective, again, I've been on my keto journey for just over a year, and in that time I've lost 145 pounds, and I have about 130 pounds I'd still like to lose. So anyway, these are going to be 7 tips or things that I learned or things that I wish that I had known about starting out with keto. Now, the first thing is you need to decide what type of person you are. Now, what I mean by that is that there are 2 ways to start a new way of eating, a new way of doing anything. One way is cold turkey. Rip the Band-Aid off. If you've been eating the standard American diet or the SAD diet and you want to move to keto, you can rip the Band-Aid off and just say, starting right now, I'm going to be 100% keto. And that's definitely one way to do things. Now, that's the way that I did it. And I think that honestly, for me, as difficult as it was right at first, that was probably the best way for me. The other way to do things would be to go from what you're eating now and to basically cut your carbs in half this week, then cut your carbs in half again next week, and do that until you get down to where you want to be. Like I said, in my case, that was 20 grams of carbs. And doing that over time, the first things that I would say I would cut out would be sugar, definitely. I don't think any diet anywhere really recommends eating sugar. Cutting out sugar and getting your carbs as low as you can to start. Like I said, deciding what kind of person you are is going to really help you starting on something new, like your keto journey. I think that for me, ripping the Band-Aid off, so to speak, and just going cold turkey, absolutely, nothing that wasn't on my eating plan from day one was really helpful for me. Having said that, I think that for some people, taking your time and slowly lowering your carbs is probably a little easier on your system, and it also is a little bit easier to do. So that would be the first thing that I would say, is decide how you want to get started. The second thing that I kind of wish that I had known, I kind of picked up on this as I went, would be to have some go-to keto snacks. Now, keto, as a general rule, doesn't really recommend a lot of snacking. They recommend, and I would recommend to you, that you eat until you're full. And a lot of people eat 2 meals a day. That's what I do. You could certainly eat 3 meals a day, but the idea of like eating small meals every 2 hours, really, most keto influencers that I've listened to and information that I've read is really not recommended. But the reason that I would say to have some go-to keto snacks is because when you first start out, you're probably going to have some cravings. And obviously you're going to have a lot of enthusiasm, probably because you're starting something new, but you're still going to have some cravings sometimes. And when you have those, having some go-to snacks, some go-to keto-friendly options can really be the difference between maybe having a little bit more in the snack department than you wanted to and going completely off the rails and having a pint of ice cream. Now you'll have to figure out what those keto snacks are that are for you, but I will tell you a couple of the snacks that were really good for me. I really enjoy cheese sticks, like just buying sharp cheddar cheese sticks, sort of like a string cheese, but sharp cheddar cheese. I also enjoy beef jerky, jerky sticks. I hunt in the fall, and so I have venison jerky sticks that were really helpful for me when I was starting out. Um, the other thing, again, these are really easy to overdo. This kind of thing is easy to overdo, but having some almond butter, again, no sugar added to that, or peanut butter with no sugar added to that. Those things are pretty fat filled, and so they're kind of satiating. You can also make yourself some fat bombs, and there's a lot of really good recipes out there for that kind of thing. But I would just recommend having a few of those things, having that out and available to you in the event that you're really having a craving, especially in those first couple of weeks. Number 3, electrolytes. If there's one thing that I can say that I wish I had done when I started my keto journey, it was having electrolytes available to me. When I was changing over from the standard American diet to the keto diet, my body released a lot of water weight, and along with that was a lot of electrolytes. And that's kind of what causes what a lot of people will call the keto flu. Feeling sluggish, feeling run down, is that you don't have enough electrolytes. Now, you can obviously get electrolytes in a lot of different ways. And the person that I started keto with, he basically just took water and added salt to it, and he would also add the low salt, which contains potassium, and would just chug that when he was feeling drained. It doesn't taste very good. I did do that for the first little while, and it was not fantastic. I wish that I had known about the electrolytes that are available. Now, I'm not talking about Gatorade or Powerade here. If you take a look at those are absolutely filled with sugar, every bit as much as a regular can of soda. No, what I'm talking about is there are at least a couple of companies that I know of that make electrolytes that would be sweetened with a little bit of stevia, which is sugar-free and doesn't spike your blood sugar. Element, LMNT, makes really tasty electrolytes that dissolve in water. And the other one, the one that I actually use is by Redmond, called Relight. I like Relight because it's quite a bit cheaper than Element. Element is really tasty, and I really like it. But quite frankly, Redmond is significantly cheaper. I buy it in there's a little tub that it comes in, and I think it used to be 60 servings. I think it's 50 servings, or maybe it is 60. I can't remember for sure. But anyway, it's not too terribly expensive, but I found that's really helpful. Would be really helpful for you starting out. I wish it's something that I had when I started, and continues to be helpful to me. It's something that I enjoy in place of where I would have maybe had a soda or had a lemonade or some fruit juice or something like that. Number 4, I would say to pick a couple of keto people, keto influencers, whatever you want to call them, somebody's brand of keto. Like I said, the ketogenic diet is really pretty simple, and I kind of talked about that already, what it is. But pick a couple people and listen to them. I love Dr. Barry and Nisha. They're fantastic. They'd be a great place to start. Or Rachel and Joe from Two Crazy Ketos. They've got some really great information about getting started with keto. But pay attention to one or two influencers to start. Because while most of the tenets of keto are pretty much the same, there are a lot of little things that are different. And I think that if you start listening to too many different voices, you're going to hear that, you shouldn't eat after 7 p.m. or you shouldn't eat after the sun goes down. And somebody else will say that it's really important that you eat 3 meals a day. And somebody else will say it's really important that you eat 1 meal a day. And somebody will say that you need to have higher fat. And somebody will say that you need to have lower fat. Anyway, they're all good things and they all work for some people. But when you get started, start by listening to a couple of people. And if you find that the things that those couple people mention maybe don't work that great for you, then that would be the time to branch out and try a few other things within the keto sphere. But I think if you listen to too many different voices at once, especially when you're first starting out, you can get confused, you can get frustrated, and nobody likes that. Number 5, I would say to immerse yourself in learning how keto works. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do that. I personally binge watched like a couple of years worth of YouTube videos from a few of the influencers that I really enjoyed. That's not the only way to do it. There are books out there that are available. And obviously you can talk with someone in person, somebody like me. But learn about, be a student of the keto diet, be a student of what it is that you're trying to learn. The more information that you have, the more empowered that you'll be able to be to make your own decisions when it comes to your diet. Obviously, listening to some people, obviously that was my number 4, was listening to a couple of people. But the more that you learn, the more that you can be in control of your health journey and your nutrition choices. Number 6, I would say to have intentional movement, but not to focus on exercise, at least not for the first little bit. Now, exercise may already be a part of your routine, and if so, that's great. Keep going with your exercise. Please don't stop exercising when you start doing keto. But for a lot of people, definitely for me, when I started keto, I was not exercising at all. But for the first 90 days, I focused on intentional movement. That is, go to the store, go for a walk, park further away and walk, to your office, take the stairs rather than taking the elevator, that kind of thing. But just focus on intentional movement. So that way you can get your body used to it. And eventually, I think after you've been on your keto journey for a little while, then maybe it might be time to introduce exercise. But if you've been eating the standard American diet and you're getting ready to start keto, you're making a pretty big change in your life. And when you're making a change in one part of your life, it's probably not the time to make a really big change in another part of your life. If you haven't been exercising, if your idea of exercising is going from the couch to the fridge, then an intense exercise program along with changing your diet from the standard American diet to the ketogenic diet is probably just setting yourself up for failure. So I would recommend intentional movement, but not exercise when you first start the keto diet. And finally, number 7 would be to wait for a bit when you first start the keto diet before you try to enjoy those keto lookalikes, is what I'm going to call them for lack of a better term. And what I mean by that is if last night for dinner you had a Domino's pizza and today you're going to start your keto diet, the first thing that I would not recommend that you eat on the keto diet is a keto pizza. And the reason is a keto pizza does not taste like a Domino's pizza. Now, I can already hear you out there saying, oh, but the keto pizza is so amazing. It absolutely is. And if you've been on the keto diet for a while and you try Joe from Two Crazy Ketos, his pizza crust recipe and the keto pizza, it is fantastic. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. Having said that, if it was the first thing that I ate after I got off of the standard American diet, it probably wouldn't have been the most tasty thing in the world. And I think that's going to be true for a lot of your keto, the way that you would ketofy something that you used to really enjoy. There are keto breads that are out there. There are keto, muffins and that kind of thing. And those things are great. And again, this is just one guy's opinion. Now, that might be the first thing that you decide to do on keto is to go make some keto bread. But for me, I started out by eating my favorite meats, eating a ribeye steak. That's my favorite kind of steak. I started out eating that. I started out eating the foods that were on my plan that were the most delicious sounding to me. And I didn't branch out into trying to find those keto hacks for the things that I used to enjoy until I'd been on the keto diet for a little while. I found that after I was on the keto diet for a month or two, and then I went and found this recipe for keto pizza and a chicken pizza crust, it was amazing. And like I said, I'm not 100% sure because I didn't do it, but I'm pretty sure that if I had just eaten a Pizza Hut pizza or a Domino's pizza the night before, and the first thing I had on keto was that chicken pizza crust, I think I would have been pretty disappointed in it. So anyway, those are 7 tips that I have for starting out in the keto diet. I hope that you found them to be helpful. Please like my page, like my channel, share this with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to. You can also hit that bell icon, which will let you know when I post a new video like this. And please, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. You can also email me at platte.riverketo@gmail.com. And yeah, keep calm and keto on. And have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon.